Hi, welcome to Carnivore Africa. My name is Innocent. Today we are going to talk about what to eat on carnivore, or what one can eat on carnivore diet. And in this edition, I will be sharing personally what I eat on carnivore and how I prepare my meals and so forth. As an opening note, I wish to state that the body loves meat and meat loves the body back. The relationship between these two is nothing short of amazing. The body digests and absorbs meat flawlessly compared to how this happens with plants. The holy grail of eating a carnivore diet is doing the lion diet. The lion diet includes beef, animal fat, salt, water, and nothing else. This is the recommended diet for those who want to heal from all sorts of health conditions. Carnivore diet can never be eaten with carbs unless they are 100 grams and below per day. And per day I mean within 24 hours. The body performs optimally in a ketogenic state. Ketones are a given on the carnivore diet. Let me talk a little bit about how much to eat. The key is to eat as much meat until when it doesn't taste good. The surprising part is that you can never overeat meat as long as it is eaten with animal fat. Once you eat this way, even when you are obese, you will immediately start losing weight. Within 2 weeks, you will start seeing the difference. If you are originally underweight, you will gain the optimal weight provided you are not undereating. As for eggs, anything from 6 eggs and more per day is good. You can boil or fry the eggs. And of course, when you're frying, you have to use the recommended fats, not cooking oil, not the other omega-6 laden cooking oils. The best you can use is animal fat when you're frying eggs. You can even eat them in combination with meat. So let me talk about the ruminant meats. These include beef, goat, lamb, and other ruminants. It could be buffalo, it could be antelope, it could be bison, or any other ruminant which you know, especially those ones which are well cooked. The ruminants have the purest meat. The 4-chamber stomach helps in fermentation and thorough digestion of the plants they eat. Fermentation neutralizes the plant toxins which would otherwise harm the animals or harm people who eat their meat. Ruminants exhibit the most superior digestion. Let me a little bit talk about the omega-6 to omega-3 ratios. The recommended ratio, or the best ratio, ranges from 1:1 to 4:1. Let me say it this way. The recommended ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 in the meats is supposed to be 1:1 or 2:1 or 3:1 or 4:1. Those are the best ratios you can find, those ones which are least inflammatory to our bodies. And this is omega-6 to omega-3. If a cow is grain fed, that is, if it has been fed on soy or corn, its omega-6 to omega-3 ranges from 15:1 up to 20:1. Now compare this with the recommended ratios. If beef is grass-fed, it has a ratio of 2:1, which is very good. If it is a grass-fed lamb, the ratio is usually around 3:1. Let me talk about pork and chicken. These are monogastric or one-stomach animals, and when you eat their meat, you indirectly eat whatever they have eaten. So pork or bacon is generally high in omega-6, which is also known as linoleic acid. The conventional pork fed on the normal feeds, not grass-fed. The ratios range from 10:1 up to 21:1. It means these ones are being fed on grains or soy. Pasture-raised pig or pork which was pasture-raised has a ratio of 6:1. So if you talk about chicken, conventional chicken can be on a ratio of 30:1. It means that it's being fed on grains for the most part. But if you get a pasture-raised chicken, usually the ratio is around 8:1. It could be less also depending on how it has been fed. Fish, wild caught fish is the best. It means that we are not advised to eat fish from man-made ponds, because these ones are also fed on foods which may not be very good, or which may be high in the inflammatory components. However, the caution is that some fish may contain mercury, so you need to be careful as you are looking for the fish. Then eggs. Once you talk about eggs, you can eat eggs on carnivore, and the free-range chicken eggs are the best. However, even the other eggs do just fine. Let me talk about the fats. The fats, there is butter, there is cow ghee, pork lard, and beef tallow. Please note that butter and cow ghee contain some traces of milk. So if you are allergic to milk, or if milk hurts you or makes you inflammatory, it means that these ones may also bring the same problem. However, I will tell you how I personally go around this, and I eat butter and cow ghee without any problem. So, of course, on carnivore diet, we also have to consume electrolytes. These contain table salt, called sodium chloride, then magnesium. The best magnesium supplement is magnesium glycinate, and then where I live, we also have magnesium active and magnesium direct. Then most other electrolytes or minerals are within the meat that you eat, but we need to supplement with table salt and also with magnesium, because magnesium is usually in low quantities in the food that we are eating. Now let me talk a little bit about what to avoid on a carnivore diet, because this is very important, and sometimes we think that once you eat these foods, it is okay. This is what to avoid on a carnivore diet. Avoid any plants, including vegetables and fruits. Yes, you heard me right. Once you're on a carnivore diet, you don't need this. Avoid coffee and black tea, as they contain caffeine and other plant chemicals. Avoid spices and condiments, as they are from plants and contain plant chemicals. Avoid alcohol, as it is a serious toxin. Avoid honey. Honey contains glucose and high fructose, and these ones are not good at all for our bodies. Now, you need to be cautious when it comes to dairy. Dairy is from a cow, it is from animals, but dairy is problematic for adults. In my view, and also in the view of many carnivore and low carb proponents, dairy should be taken by children from a baby up to maybe about 5 or 6 years. If you're above that, dairy is not good for you. Dairy contains carbohydrates. We know what carbohydrates do. It contains casomorphin, or call it beta-casomorphin. Now, this is a morphine. It is an opiate. It has negative consequences on the body. For example, it is very addictive. So you find that if you're taking milk, you're addicted to it. If you're taking dairy products, you're addicted to them because of this casomorphin. And also this casomorphin, it is very, very constipating. Especially if you're in a carnivore diet and you begin taking dairy, you're most likely to get constipation, and it is always a painful experience. Milk contains a protein called casein, and casein 1 is the most dangerous. Then milk contains lactose, and most adults cannot digest lactose. And then it also contains whey protein. Now this whey protein doesn't increase the blood sugar, but studies show that it increases insulin. The insulin levels in the body increase, and once you have elevated insulin, then you begin getting problems in the whole body. This is how I prepare my food. As for meat, or specifically beef, I buy in bulk. I debone, it is removing the bones. I cut it in tiny pieces. I add salt. Then I measure 1 to 2 kilograms of meat and pack in small plastic bags and store in a deep freezer. Each time I pick one plastic bag and boil it in a pressure cooker. I do not add anything else. Of course, salt is always there. Salt is part of the food. In case the salt which I added during the packing is not enough, I add more salt. Sometimes I can mince beef or buy it minced. I add about 100 grams of animal fat 2 times a day to my soup as I eat my boiled beef. About pork or bacon, I freeze it through the same process as beef. Though I cut bigger pieces, I do not debone it. I cut bigger pieces and try to separate the fat from the muscle. I air fry the muscle, and then as for the fat, I render it in a hot pan to get grease, which I can use to fry eggs or any other frying. Something to note here is that of late I no longer eat much pork due to its high content in histamine. And this, of course, histamine is due to the high omega-6 component. After eating it for many days, I realized that eating it many days in a row leads to me having itchy skin, and then start sneezing and such histamine-related challenges. That is my personal experience. It may be different with you, but at least that's what has happened to me when I ate pork many days in a row. I remember at one time, pork, when I started carnivore, pork was my favorite because it is soft and it tastes very nice. So, and also once you air fry it, it remains it's really nice. It is enjoyable compared to the beef which we have in my country. Beef is usually tough, and you have to boil it for a longer time in a pressure cooker. But pork is usually softer. So I ate it so much. I think I remember at one time I think I ate it for about 3 weeks, almost non-stop, and then I began getting those symptoms: itchy skin, And then my daughter also got an itchy skin, and also for her she developed some sort of nasal allergies or flu-like symptoms. So because of that, I don't eat it that much these days. So about fish, I usually buy Nile perch. I place it I place it in some mesh-like dish and fry it in a pork grease. The mesh helps it not to stick to the bottom of the pan. Then when I'm eating it, I smear some butter on it. Or if I don't do that, I just eat the fried fish but drink fatty soup alongside the fish. About beef tallow, I buy this from the butchery. This is usually from the fat near the kidney or near the entrails. You know, these intestines, there is this fat. So, and in case you don't know what to say or how to buy, you just tell the butcher man that I need the fat which can melt, which I can use to fry. They know that kind of fat. So after buying those fats, I chop in several pieces and render it. I sieve it and put it in some pan. After this fat cools, it gets solid. The solid fat is what I work with. And I can use it to fry eggs or fish or anything else, especially if it is much in quantity. Let me talk about butter and ghee. Like I stated before, I have a problem with diarrhea. When I take diarrhea for about 3 days in a row, it gives me joint pains, a lower backache, chest pain, you know, this pain which is like from the heart, and then it also gives me brain fog. Brain fog is when you are too forgetful, you move from here to another room looking for something, and once you get there, you forget what you are looking for, and you end up going back to where you are seated, where you came from, to remember what you had gone for. And also this tendency of being uneasy, you know, that is what they call brain fog. And I've realized that diarrhea gives me that. Butter and ghee come with the traces of the undesired part of diarrhea, and this gives me the same effects as diarrhea. So what I do, I always heat up both butter or ghee in a pan and add a little rock salt as it boils. Whenever I do this, I do not get the pain. So as the boiling goes on, when a whitish milky substance collects at the bottom, and when this substance turns brownish, I stop this heating process and then sieve and keep the clean fat. Of course, I discard the residues at the bottom. So, in conclusion, that's how I eat my beef. That's how I prepare my meals, and those are the quantities that I take. And in case you don't know how to go about or you didn't know about this, you feel free to borrow a leaf. And also there is room for experimentation, because we are different. We have different genetic composition, and we can react to these foods differently. So you are free to experiment once you go carnivore, and you see what works for you the best. Thank you so much for your time.